If your autoimmune symptoms keep coming back no matter what you try, it's probably because no one ever tested the real root cause. And it's not what you think. It's not just stress. It's not just your diet. And it's not your lab markers. Most women I work with have done everything right trying to feel better. They've changed their diet, they've cut out gluten, they've seen the doctors and the natural doctors, and for a while it can help. But then the symptoms keep coming back. And at some point, you probably wondered, what am I missing? Why do I keep feeling this exhausted? And here's what I want you to understand. If you don't address the real root cause, you will stay inflamed no matter what you do. That's what's keeping you stuck. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what it is, and knowing the truth will change everything about how you heal. I'm Nancy Ma, physical therapist and the Autoimmune Freedom Coach. And for the past 20 years, I've been helping women understand what's actually driving their symptoms, not just how to manage them, but how to change what's driving them. So here's something for you to know. Inflammation is not the problem. It's the signal. It's the start of understanding, because this is where almost every autoimmune conversation begins. Whether it's Hashimoto's, rheumatoid arthritis, MS, lupus, different diagnoses, same pattern. They all have chronic inflammation. So naturally, the focus becomes, how do we get rid of it? Anti-inflammatory diets, supplements, immune suppressing medications. And to be clear, those can and do help, because too much inflammation can really interfere with your body's processes. So you do feel somewhat better. Things calm down for a bit, but then it comes back. And here's why. Nobody's asking, why is there inflammation? They just keep trying to get rid of it. So if they keep trying to get rid of it and keeps coming back, obviously that must mean that they're not addressing the real root, doesn't it? And how come no one's talking about it? The truth is, inflammation is not the problem. It's the signal. It's your body responding to something it believes is a threat. It's like a fire alarm going off in your house. You can take out the battery, you can muffle the sound, but if you don't find the fire, your house is going to burn down. And that's not what you want, I don't think. I hope not. But that's what's happening when you spend years trying to manage inflammation without ever identifying what's driving it. The alarm keeps going off because the threat never stops. And until that changes, you're not healing, you're ignoring, and you're barely getting by. And it's not your fault, because this is what most doctors do. They try to shut off the inflammation. So let me explain to you how inflammation actually works. Inflammation is actually the first step of a 3-step healing process. So think about if you were to have a paper cut. The first thing that would happen is your body would flare up, maybe just a little bit. You'd have a cut, maybe a little bit bleeding, some swelling. And the purpose of that inflammation is to protect the area. It signals to your nervous system to say, okay, we have a problem at the finger, protect it, don't go near it. And it sends signals to the area to dilate the blood vessels, to swell up so that it can start the healing process. That's inflammation. The pain, the inflammation, it is part of healing. The problem is when you stay stuck in this phase and you don't move to the next phases of healing, which are repair and then build. And for a paper cut, you don't really have to do anything. The paper cut will heal on its own. You don't have to tell it to heal. You don't have to take anti-inflammatories to heal a paper cut. But if after a few days your paper cut hasn't healed, there's something going on with your body. Why is it slow to heal? So this is it on a small level. But on a bigger level, if that inflammation was happening in your gut, in your muscles, in your nerve, the same principles apply. And so this is where functional medicine comes in. And to be fair, it's done important work in the last 5 years, because there are real physical triggers. So gut issues, leaky gut, food sensitivities, toxins, chronic infections, nutrient deficiencies. And for some women, addressing these creates real progress. I've seen women go from a 2 out of 10 function level to 5, 6 level. And so they get to a point where it's not the worst, because they've experienced worse, but it's not fully living. And here's the pattern that I kept seeing over and over. So these women would fix their gut, they would clean up their diet, and they'd do everything that they were told. And then maybe they'd feel 50, 60% better, but they don't feel fully themselves. And the the exhaustion would still be there by 3 p.m. The flare-ups would still come back, and the body never settled. So I had a client who, she had rheumatoid arthritis, Raynaud's, fibromyalgia, and she was in constant pain. Her hands ached, her feet ached, her hands would become blue and purple at work, they would feel cold, she would be stressed all the time, and she did what she was told. She's been on medications for a long time, and then when that didn't give her the results that she wanted, she started the natural route, started seeing a naturopath, and she tried some new supplements and the AIP diet, and guess what? She started feeling better. But then she told me, Nancy, I feel on a good day, I can get to a 7 out of 10, but I know I should be living at a 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10. Like, I know that there's a woman inside that is excited to live fully, but I can't get to her. And that's exactly what I helped her with, because it's not about chasing a short-term fix. It's really about learning why the inflammation stays turned on. And for her, it was because she was living in survival mode. She, whether self-induced or learned behavior, and likely a combination of both, has been living with a low grade or high grade level of anxiety, afraid to fail, afraid to disappoint others, afraid to take a chance on herself, afraid that she would never heal. And when she came to me, she got to the point where she said, I'm done living life afraid all the time. I deserve better. The root cause of her inflammation was her fear. And until we addressed that, she would have kept living in the same cycle. And so all we did together was work on her fear story, and we learned to shift it. And now she's feeling way more calm in her life. She can identify when she has that anxious self-talk. She knows how to shift from a spiral to feeling calm again. She knows how to get her energy back without waiting for permission or waiting for the next hit of caffeine. And that's what addressing the real root cause can do. I have something that may help you just like it helped my client. If you've been stuck in this cycle of chronic inflammation, trying everything and feeling a little bit better, but then plateauing again, I invite you to take my inflammation indicator test. Now, this test was designed by me to share with you exactly what's going on and give you the full picture. It is not a lab test. It is a questionnaire. It's super quick to do. It probably will take you 5 minutes, and you'll get your results instantly, and you'll get the whole picture. You'll get a personalized plan based on your results. Because when you know what's driving your inflammation, that's when you can heal. And so for that client I just talked about, her root was living in fear, living with anxiety. For you, it might be something different. And I'm not sure what that is for you, but if you do this test, you'll find that out for yourself. And you can find it in the link below. Another very common root cause of inflammation is living in chronic survival mode. So here's what almost nobody talks about. Your immune system and your nervous system are very closely related to each other. They communicate all day long. They're actually not separate. They're like intertwined vines. So when your nervous system is stuck in survival mode, your immune system reflects that, because your nervous system is what drives all processes in your body. Your nervous system is like a firewall or your alarm system. It's always here to scan the environment and to communicate with your entire body to say, okay, we have a situation going on over here at 3 o'clock. You may want to pay attention to this. Oh, there's a refrigerator in the background. That's harmless. Don't pay attention to that. And then your immune system takes the cues from the nervous system and it will respond accordingly. If for whatever reason your nervous system is constantly detecting a threat, your immune system will hear that signal and it will ramp up and be on guard. It will send out the guards and it will keep scanning for threats, and it will keep protecting you, and it will trigger inflammation. And it doesn't know how to shut off, because the immune system won't shut off until the nervous system gives it the okay to do so. So in the state of chronic survival mode, when you are ignoring your body signals to get through the day, if you're pushing yourself to get things done, your nervous system can't tell the difference between you starving in the wild or working at your desk and skipping lunch. It can't tell the difference between going to work and you fighting off a bear so you can feed your family. It doesn't know the difference. And that's what happens when you're in chronic survival mode. There's so much pressure, which means the nervous system is always sensing this threat, and it doesn't tell the difference. It can't tell the difference between a real threat, a real physical threat, and the instructions that are coming from your subconscious mind. This is the missing piece, because for most women, this didn't start overnight. This pressure is often learned from society, or from your parents, or from patterns we learned growing up. It builds slowly over time to the point where we don't even know how much it's controlling us. Years of stress that never resolved, years of ignoring your emotions or pushing them down, years of ignoring your body's cues. And so you end up living like a robot, with trying to prove, trying to work, trying to perform, trying to get by, trying to keep up, and you're ignoring what your body actually needs. And you rely on substances to keep you going, whether that's immune suppressing drugs or anti-inflammatory supplements and diets, or caffeine or sugar or scrolling on your phone. Your body is so disconnected from its own cues because because it's in a chronic state of running or fighting for your life. Because at some point, you might have learned that rest isn't safe because rest means you're not productive. I've heard so many women who believe this myth. Oh, I don't know how to slow down. I don't like to do nothing. I'm not the kind of person who can sit around and do nothing. I'm always go, go, go. Nobody is designed to go, go, go because your nervous system can't run off adrenaline forever. And if you think that you can, that's a problem, because I'm not asking you to lie down all day and do nothing. I'm just saying that when you learn to slow down enough, it doesn't mean you're falling behind. It means that you're actually feeding your body what it needs, which is a safety signal. And that's how you heal from being in a chronic inflammatory state. So if you don't know how to rest, that means your body has learned to stay in on mode all the time, which means your stress hormones are always elevated. Your system never fully resets. Your inflammation becomes your normal, not because something is wrong externally, but because internally your body doesn't feel safe. I mean, I can tell you so many different clients who go through this, but it's pretty much the same story over and over again. I see this when women who are doing their best to be there for their families, to be the mom that they think their kids need, to show up at work as the woman that people depend on, to help other people at the sacrifice of their own well-being. And somewhere along the way, a woman gets lost. When you lose connection with who you really are, what you really want in life, what your dreams are, what your goals are, and what drives you, what makes you joyful, what are you on a mission for? When you lose connection with that version of you, your body just goes through the motions and you just live on autopilot and you're just getting by, barely getting through. And I can give you a bazillion names of this story, but that was my story. Maybe you've felt parts of this in your story. When I work with my clients, it's not about teaching you the next anti-inflammatory hack. It's about learning how to connect with your most authentic, aligned, joyful self and learning to work with your goals and dreams, because that is what will bring you out of inflammation. That will give you a reason to heal. That will give you a reason to build. If you don't have that dream, if you don't have that meaningful purpose in life, somewhere in your subconscious, you're saying to yourself, what's the point? What's the point of getting better just to keep doing this? So this is really one of the other root causes of autoimmune issues, is that you've lost yourself if you don't know what you want in life. So now that you know this, what does it look like to change it? Not to manage it, not to work around it, but to actually shift it. And it starts with this. You have to teach yourself that it is safe again, not just logically, but fully, mentally, physically, and emotionally, because your body responds to safety signals. So if you have goals that are worth living for, that's a safety signal. If you are working with your body's natural rhythms, that's a safety signal. If you can use mindful tools to calm yourself down, that's a safety signal. These are skills, which means that it becomes better with time and practice. This is not a one-time fix. It looks like interrupting the stress response consistently, using mindfulness tools, movement, and exercise to release what your body has been holding on to. It means actually processing emotions and setting goals for yourself. It means that you actually learn to release suppressed emotions. And it means changing how you see yourself in the mirror. So instead of being the one who keeps pushing yourself to work past your breaking point, you have to be able to look in the mirror and speak to yourself with kindness, the way you would to the 5-year-old version of yourself. How would you speak to her? Would you berate her? Would you criticize her? Would you push her to keep going when she doesn't feel good? I would hope not. But chances are, if you keep doing that to yourself, you're not going to feel very good. So when you can start talking to the 5-year-old version of yourself with kindness, your body will actually start feeling safe, because when you feel safe, everything shifts. Your immune system will stand down. You will get out of chronic survival mode. You will stop living in fear. Your inflammation will decrease. Not because you forced it to, but because it no longer needs to protect you the same way. And that's the shift. If your body doesn't feel safe, it will stay inflamed no matter what you eat, no matter what you do. And once that changes, everything else starts working the way your body is designed to work. Our bodies are designed to grow and heal. And if it's not, that means we're working in the wrong direction. So if this gave you a completely different way of understanding your symptoms, then good. Don't just leave it there though. The next step is to figure out what's driving your body. And that's exactly what the inflammation indicator test is designed to do. Again, it takes just 5 minutes and you can find the link below. And if this resonates, I also invite you to book an activation call with me and my team where we will not be giving you information. We will help you map out your exact plan on how you can go from chronically inflamed to feeling like yourself again, living with joy, freedom, and abundance. So if that's where you're at, take the next step. The link is below. And I really hope that this message lands with you, because I'll say this every day if I have to. This is the most important thing for you to understand. If you don't get why you keep having inflammation, nothing will change. If this resonated, please subscribe, leave me a comment, and I just want you to know I appreciate you. And I do this work because my mission is to help women get back to living the life that they deserve. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next video.